Okay, so now we're ready to add some images to our program and position them on the window. And just to recap here, we have these 9 Marilyn Monroe images. And look at the way they're numbered. Like I said, you're going to be working with images a lot in this class, so always pay attention to the name of the image and whether or not it's a JPEG image or a GIF image or a PNG, a PNG image. Because I do use all kinds of images. I do provide all kinds of images to you. We'll be using different formats. So just be aware, because we're going to have to write these names of the images in our code. And the names have to be correct in order for it to work properly. So anyway, we have MM1, MM2, and so on. So what we'll do, and of course I'd like to reiterate that the image files have got to be in the same folder as your program file always. So what we're going to do, I'll add a comment here that we're going to create our Marilyn images. There are 9 images in this program. I'll probably create just 2 or 3 because after that it gets very repetitive. So we'll just focus on the technique and not the busy work that it would later become if we did all 9 images. So the first thing I'm going to do, I want to create, we have to create the images individually. And this MM1, for example, the red Marilyn, let's focus on her and let's create this image and add it to our program. When I'm adding a new item to my program, such as an image, or later we're going to add a button or a text box and things like that. If I'm adding a new thing to my program, I often have to come up with a name for it. Just like if you're bringing a new baby into the world, you've got to come up with a name for that baby. Okay, so I want to come up with a name to represent that Marilyn Monroe image, this red Marilyn to be exact. And well, I know that the file name is called mm1.jpg, so why don't I just go with mm1 and I'll be systematic about it, because the program is so repetitive with the mm1 through 9. So I'm going to come up with the name mm1, and this will represent that first Marilyn image that is going to be coming into my program. So I'm going to put an equal sign, and then you're going to be doing this a lot in this class, program, which is in our IntelliSense, dot directory. Okay, and what this command does is it instructs Small Basic to look in the current directory or folder where the program resides. Okay, so what this will do is cause Small Basic to look in this folder, the MM folder to be exact, which is where this particular program resides, this program file, the SB file resides, okay? And then once it looks into that folder, once it gets into that folder, we want it to find this one, the mm1.jpg, and this is where you have to watch your spelling, because in our code we're going to type mm1.jpg. It's not case sensitive, so you don't have to, oh, you know what? You have to type it like this, sorry. /mm1.jpg. Okay, let's dissect this and see exactly what's happening, all right? If to get to this folder, if I go into program.directory, it'll bring me to this mm folder on my computer. In fact, it'll bring me to this path. This is how a folder is really represented in this this file path, okay? So program.directory is going to basically find this piece of information and bring it into my program, okay? And then we have the plus sign. If I add to this piece of information that program.directory finds, if I add a /mm1.jpg, well, that leads me directly to her, which is what I want, right? So that's how we find picture files. That's how we'll find sound files. We type program.directory, and assuming you've done the prep work and you put all of those pictures and sounds, whatever you're using, into the same folder as your program, all you have to do is type the program.directory plus and then the / and the name of the item that you want. So you'll be doing that a lot in this class. So like I said, I'll just go ahead and create a couple of those. Okay, Okay, now this one will be for MM2, and that'll be this Maryland with the turquoise background. And how about one more? Okay, and you know what, I think we'll talk about positioning in the next video, but while we're at it and talking about this program.directory, I think I'll get the sound out of the way, and we'll just do that as like one liner at the bottom of the program. But if you want to add sound to a program, well, first of all, one thing I did not do when I copied the picture files into my MM folder, I forgot to copy the song file, Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, which is also in this package that you would have downloaded. So it's this particular file, diamonds.wave. It's a wave file or a sound file. So I'm going to make sure I copy that into the MM folder, because you know, if you're using a picture, you're using sound, it's got to be in that folder. So we'll go ahead and put that in there. All right, now I'm ready. And then to add a sound to the program, it's pretty straightforward. You can just type SO. It'll take you right to sound in your IntelliSense. I'll press enter, dot, play. Okay, and then I open up parentheses. You can see over here, look, this it says play, and then what it expects us to provide in the parentheses is the file path to the song file, in fact diamonds.wave in this case. So we know how to find a file path now. We type program.directory. This will take us to the MM folder on the desktop or wherever it is. The nice thing about this is if I change the location of the MM folder, it doesn't matter. Program.directory finds it wherever it is. And then I will append to that backslash and then the name of the file, the sound file that we want to play, which is diamonds.wave. Okay, and don't forget to close your parentheses. Okay? Alright, so that'll do it for creating the images and adding the sound. So what, you know, let me show you something though real quick. Alright, I created those images, but I still don't see them. Alright, so we have only half of the task done. We have imported the images into our program, but displaying them on the graphics window is another story, and that's what we'll focus on in the next program. So right now we've got some images. I think in the next program I'll just have all 9 of them ready, and then we can focus on the placement and the positioning.